Hi there! Welcome to this second video of the joy of PIM. Last time we were covering how to import data from a spreadsheet into a PIM system like Plytix. PIM stands for Product Information Management, and now on this video we're going to be covering the management part of that acronym. By the end of this video we would have got all of our account set up with attributes, attribute groups and product families. So stay tuned to go from a bit of a chaotic moment into a zen moment using Plytix PIM. Well, as you can see, here are the products we imported from last time. But as you may see, our data is not perfect just yet. There are some gaps here and there, and that's normal. That happens to all of us. It means that your spreadsheet or your pictures maybe were not all ready, and that is absolutely fine because no one gets everything perfectly at the first time. That's what a PIM system is for, to help you organize everything and make sure that we can now optimize and keep enriching your data. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start organizing these attributes or columns that you can see here into different groups. Right now, we only have like 10 attributes, which is not a lot for a product data set. But this can escalate really quickly, and we can easily go from having 10 attributes to having over 100 or even more. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to check this section, the attributes. And within the attributes, we're going to check the group section. Here, we're going to add some groups that are going to start giving some more sense to the dataset. So the first group we're going to add, it's going to be a really simple one. We're going to call this one basic info. And on this group, what we're going to do is we're going to start choosing those really basic data points that every product should have. For example, brand, it's a perfect example. Color as well. Or description, or even price. Now, as you see, attributes get added in here, and it's really easy to remove them in case that you didn't choose the right one. Perhaps color. I'm not sure if color should be within the basic info, because perhaps color is more for like the options of products. So I'm just gonna take it out. Alright, now that I have this basic info group, I'm going to add some other group. For example, let's call this one rich info as an opposite of basic info. And for this one, we're going to choose other values such as image gallery or type perhaps, and maybe color. Let's go with color here. And maybe train options. And product type. And last but not least, we're going to create another group that we're going to call logistics info. And on this one, I'm going to focus especially on this estimated time of arrival of stock date, ETA stock date, and in stock. Now, typically a PIM system doesn't hold any stock data, but this information can help you understand if the product is in stock or not, and when to expect to be restocked. So these are the kind of values that you could have in a PIM system, but perhaps not the stock itself. Just saying. Alright. So once we have these attribute groups ready, let's go into the products and see how that feels. So if I go into this product, you will see that now I can very easily switch and go to basic info, where I have these values. Then I can go into rich info, where I have these values, the gallery, and then some other information there. Or logistics info. Now you may see that this product is quite empty, isn't it? Doesn't have much data on it. So we're going to start using this that is called completeness attributes in order to help us in a very efficient way see what's the quality of our product data. So let's go into settings and let's create an attribute. It's going to be a completeness attribute. And perhaps what we can do is we can join together the attribute groups with the completeness attributes. So we can do something like this: basic info complete. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, completeness, then I'm going to choose create another, because right after I will create another attribute, then do next, and I'm going to choose the basic info. There's only 3 attributes, but there could be many more. Next one, rich info complete. Create attribute. I'm going to choose the rich info data. Create attribute. And last but not least, logistics. Oops, there was a typo there. Completeness. Next. I'm going to choose the logistics one. Again, there's a very few attributes in this example of mine, but your data could have more and more attributes, and that would be absolutely fine. So last but not least, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of the groups and I'm going to very quickly edit them and add the relevant completeness attribute to each of the groups. Really easy. I'm adding all of this now. And all of a sudden you'll see how nicely this is going to look when I'm looking at the products. It's a bit of a tedious setup at this point, but once you set this up, then this is going to give you so much help further down the line. So it's really worth it doing this. So you see, here I have now this logistics complete at 0%. Or if I go into basic info at 0%. Or if I go into rich info, I have rich info at 20%. So let's see how this works. If I go to basic info and I say, okay, the brand for this one, it's actually Sinks. It's a brand that I've created myself, so don't Google that one. Now this is 33%. But if I was to add a description, this is a sample, all of a sudden that would go to 66. And what if we put a price to this? So let's say that the suggested retail price for this one is going to be at $2.49. As I say changes, voila, it went all the way to 100%. So this is really nice on a product level for you to see what's missing and what's not. In this case, it's pretty easy because there's only 3. But for example, here you could see what is missing and what's not. But most importantly, this helps when looking at the products in bulk. So if I go into the PIM, and now I run a filter where I say basic info, it's equal to 100. All of a sudden, this is giving me all of the products that have the basic info up to 100, which is 514 of them. But most importantly, I could also reverse this and I could say, wait a minute, give me all of the attributes, all of the products that have this completeness attribute less than 100, which is an inverse list and basically becomes in a to-do list for me. So I know that these 42 products that I'm working on require attention, require working with it. And I could go even further with it. I could say, okay, basic info is less than 100, or logistics info, logistics complete is less than 100. And that's giving me all of a sudden 555 products. Well, I probably need to start working into the logistics info then. All right. So now that we've covered the attributes, the attribute groups, and the completeness attributes, and how to easily filter those, the last thing we're missing is simply saving them into a smart list. So I could create a list and I could call this one to-do list for John. So I know that now I need to work on this. And anytime I could simply, go back and load the list and start working on the data, which I should probably do. All right. So this would cover the setting up of the attributes, the attribute groups, and the completeness, and how to work with them in filters and smart lists. But there is one thing missing here, and you've probably noticed that my products vary a bit. I have sinks, I have faucets, and I also have accessories. So what probably is happening is that some of the attributes don't make sense when looking at them. So say we take a sink, right? Or a faucet. If I go into the sink, there's probably information that won't really make sense from other perspective, right? So for example, drain options. Well, drain options probably make sense for a sink, but if I go into a faucet, which probably I have here like this, but this is an accessory for the sink, but there are some other products there that don't really have, or are not really, doesn't make a lot of sense when you're looking at them from one perspective, because some of the attributes are not really relevant to them, right? So what do we do now? Well, the best is to create different product families. So what I'm gonna show you now is how we could create different product families. If I go here into product families, I can create different families. So right now I'm gonna create 3 different families. One family is gonna be sinks. Next. And I'm gonna, let's say, add information that is sink related. So probably I'm gonna add the basic info, which is related to everyone. And then I'm gonna add some of the rich info, like this, like the drain options. And then I'm also gonna add this. So probably for this one, I'm adding almost everything. Create a family. But say that I have some other ones, like for example, I could have faucets. And for faucets, I'm gonna add pretty much the same, but in this case, I'm not gonna add the drain options because it doesn't make any sense for this particular family. And then as I go, I could keep adding attributes that are relevant only to faucets or are relevant only to sinks. Or let's say accessories, right? So I'm gonna create another one for accessories. And here I'm gonna add the basic info, the rich info, except for the drain options, because that one I don't need. And then some others, like stock, create family. And again, keep in mind that there are only 10 attributes here, so at this point there's not so many differences between these families, but maybe in your case that's going to be way more obvious, and you're going to have way more differences in your attributes already with your first import. So let's see on how does this look when we go into products. As you see now, I have these all products now here, which is showing me all of the products. But now I can very easily switch between one and the other. Of course, if I change to sinks now, for example, I'm just going to get 0 results because I haven't defined any sink just yet. So back to all products. Now we're going to start adding products to families. Let's do this by filtering them with categories. I'm going to look into categories. I'm going to do contains any of, all categories selected. I'm going to look into, let's say, sinks, bowls. Yeah, let's go with sinks and bowls. So when I apply the filter, I have 425. As you may see, the majority of my products are actually sinks or bowls, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this into the right family. I click here, select them all, and then assign family. and I choose sinks. Wonderful. Confirm. Now, I want to keep continuing working with the data, but I don't want to mix one families with the other. So I'm going to go into this unassign group that is going to easily show me what's left. In this case, 131 are left. So I'm going to run a filter here. Let's do categories, contains any of. And let's check in this case the faucets, right? So kitchen faucets and bathroom faucets. Why not? Apply filter. I have 76 of them. So I'm going to select here again, select all 76 results, assign family, and now I go and choose faucets. Confirm. And then what do I have left? Well, probably then accessories. I have 55 products. And yeah, they are indeed accessories. So what I'll do is I will go and select, maybe not these two, but the rest I can select, assign a family, and I'll make them part of accessories. Confirm. So now all of my products have, or most of them, now all of my products, or most of them, have families. And I can, of course, keep adding them or editing them, right? So say I go into sinks, and I choose one of these, and I go like, I'm not sure if this should go into sinks. I can very easily come here and change the family. All right. So just to do a bit of a recap. Today we were looking at the different elements and how to start organizing your data, how to work with attributes, with attribute groups, and with completeness attributes, and also how to save the filters into Smart List so you can work with them. For example, I want to look at the pictures. I want to see products that have the thumbnail defined. Here we go. Now, 282 out of 425 have the thumbnail defined. Now that we have set up our account, the next step is to send that data into Shopify. And that's what we're going to be doing on the next video. So if you don't want to miss out, feel free to subscribe to our channel or give us a thumbs up as well if you like this video. See you next time.